Welcome to the DMV's Vibe podcast. I am Miss Pink,
And I'm Fairly Swagger.
and we are finally back in the studio. Last week was very eventful.
Yes.
We were out supporting Pretty Pamper Queens Auto Club Stunt Sunday. There were a lot of nice cars out there. They gave away like 48 trophies. It was very loud. It was very loud, but it was nice to see them have such a nice big event and get to see all the different car clubs and for still a big number of people to come out. We have no problems, no incidents, no nothing. It was just like a big ass family
It really
reunion.
was. No beef, nobody fought, none of that. Police came by, but
Yeah, they wasn't really messing with nobody, so it was all cool. Um, as we have entered into a new month, we're in September. Definitely want to send a prayer to everyone affected by Hurricane Ida. It is hurricane season, and that part of United States always seems to get hit pretty hard.
yeah,
Um,
the New Orleans, it actually hit New York and Jersey hard too.
yeah, I saw like some of the pictures and the videos over the last couple weeks or whatever. And so we definitely want to send a special prayer out to everyone affected by that storm. Hopefully, we can wrap up hurricane season with no more disasters. Um, but September is also National Suicide Prevention Month. I thought it was important because we always talk about mental health to discuss this issue. Because it is like in the top 10 causes of death across the United States. This week specifically is Suicide Prevention Week. It's the 5th through the 11th. Um, so throughout the show, we're going to be talking about the warning signs and what to look out for, how you can identify them, as well as like a safety plan and trying to get someone to therapy. We know that a lot of celebrities have been affected by it, from Robin Williams to Phyllis Hyman, Donny Hathaway. You have the fashion designer Kate Spade. I don't know who used to watch the Disney Channel when we was younger. Lee Thompson Young.
Jet Jackson.
Yep, Jet Jackson. Um, he was affected. He did have a bipolar disorder, so that played into his health, as well as like Don Cornelius committed suicide due to his Alzheimer's and the seizures that he was having. Um, so we're gonna jump in and one, I want to start with giving the phone numbers to how you can start receiving help if you know anyone who needs those numbers. I'll also be posting it. If you're looking at the show on YouTube or Facebook, you will be able to see the numbers posted on there as well. The National Suicide Prevention Line is 1-800-273-8255, or you can text crisis. You can text hello to the crisis text line at 741-741. It is free and they're available 24 hours a day. They do have a specific text line for the Veterans Crisis Line. You would text hello to 838-255 to connect with the Veteran Affairs responder. So I was looking over, a lot of information this weekend, and the most recent study showed in 2019 it was number 10 on the leading causes of death across the United States of America, with 47,500 people affected.
That's a lot of people.
It definitely is a lot of people. I was scared to go and look at what the numbers were for the age ranges.
I know it's significantly have gone up in young people. A lot of, you have elementary school age children that have taken their lives. More than, like, I remember growing up as a kid, we didn't have kids committing suicide the way that you see that nowadays. And I know that there are probably other factors that play into childhood or child suicide, but the numbers with suicide is in kids is a lot.
Yes, absolutely. I know it's specifically from, especially working with the school system.
Mm-hmm.
You can see a lot of those what they call as warning signs in some of those kids, and that's why it's so important to try our best to remain positive, because you don't know what people are going through at home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's been specifically being home through the pandemic. You have people who just have too much idle time, and sometimes being home wasn't the best for some of these kids for their situations that are going on in their household. And so I know that the state of Maryland specifically is looking for more therapists within to deal with the younger age children, as well as more social workers that can deal with the mental health in households.
Well, if they would actually pay the therapists and social workers, you would actually have more people in the field, but it's not a lucrative
Yeah.
career monetarily, because you do have some people who are in it because they're in it for the kids. They love what they do. But they're to live, to work, and live and maintain a decent household as a social worker, as a therapist, anybody that's in these type of fields, especially in the mental health field, people that work in group homes with these people, they just don't get paid enough.
Don't get paid enough, and um, certain jobs, and I'm gonna say mine specifically that I have right now. They want us to be like the middle person between, like a social worker
Mm-hmm.
and the customer, but we are not equipped to deal with people who have different types of mental disorders, because that is majority of the people who need assistance from the state.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have people that are coming in there, and then we're the people that they talk to, when they're trying to get their assistance and their benefits, sometimes we're not equipped, because they don't do training for us. And if this situation happens, this is what you should do. And I feel like it correlates directly back to what happens with
The
people who have mental disorders and
and
dealing with the police.
the police, yeah.
Um, it's just, if jobs implemented certain things, it would help cut down, I think, on a lot of what I'll say now in the world is a lot of leading causes of death.
I will definitely say, I know a lot of people get upset when they hear the term defund the police, defund the police. But here's my thing. When I hear about situations where, and this happened, we've had situations in DC where you call a police officer because somebody is having a psychotic episode. They have a knife. They have a butter knife. I can't remember if it was a man or a woman who had a butter knife in DC, and they ultimately murdered this woman. And the thing about it is, as an educator who has been at a school where a child has tried to attack another child with a knife, who has had to de-escalate a situation, and I don't have a gun, I don't have a baton, I don't have anything but my voice and my hands to protect myself, and a lot of stuff that they teach, the techniques that they teach, those of us who work in schools when special education, it don't work. So a lot of times you're doing stuff just to protect yourself, but we still can de-escalate the situation. So if we as educators can de-escalate a situation that is very violent, where everybody goes home free, goes home to their family or whatever, or a lot of times the kids that are involved will end up maybe going to the hospital or something like that, but nobody gets hurt, then the police officers can do the same thing.
Absolutely.
They we have to de-escalate a situation. We have no choice, because we have to not only keep ourselves safe, because we have families that we want to go home to, but we got to keep these children safe, and the children involved in the situation safe, and the children in the schools safe. So police officers need some type of mental health training or something like that to learn how to de-escalate a situation, because it's not equal force when someone has a knife and you have a gun and you're shooting them. That's not equal force.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
if they're having a psychotic, and then when you have family that is clearly telling you that this person has a history of whatever mental illness, and they're telling you that they're having a psychotic episode, okay, so you assess the situation differently, but you can't fight fire with fire. And that's a lot of things when you watch some of the videos of these situations. If you're up here and the person's up here, nobody's de-escalating.
Yep.
No, the situation is only going to get worse, and we have to learn how to deal with that, because I have been in situations where kids have had homicidal ideations and suicidal ideations, and it's hard. But I might be scared to death, but they'll never see that.
Right.
But deep down inside, I'm like, Lord, just help me. But I'm scared, but I'm not hollering and screaming and doing the most up here, because they're up here.
Exactly. And it definitely is no way to de-escalate if it's just like having an argument. If two people are arguing, somebody's not listening. And the de-escalation process is so many different ways that you can de-escalate. I think even more so with people who have mental illnesses. I can understand, they might not be complying, but you have to find alternative things to try and tap into where their mental is. Um, so I'm going to go in and start talking about the warning signs, which start with talking about wanting to die or kill themselves, talking about feeling empty, hopeless, or no reason to live, feeling trapped or that there are no solutions, unbearable emotions or physical pain or unbearable physical pain, being a burden to others, withdrawing from family and friends, giving away important possessions, putting affairs in order, like if you're making a will or something, putting those things together, um, taking great risks that they know could lead to a possible death. Um, Also, it could be extreme mood swings, making a plan or looking for ways to kill themselves, like lethal methods, feeling guilt or shame, excessive increase of drugs or alcohol, feeling anxious or agitated, changing eating or sleeping habits, and showing rage or talking about seeking revenge. Um, those are just warning signs, but it could stem from other things. Like most people who think about committing suicide have suffered, like we said, it's some type of mental illness or disorder. It could be that they're experiencing depression. And not all of these behaviors could lead to them doing suicide, but it is a risk factor that could lead them to exhibit the behaviors or the warning signs. The chronic pain, the substance abuse, a history of suicide attempts, a family history of mental health issues, a family history of suicide, exposure to family violence, whether it be physical or sexual abuse, the presence of multiple firearms in their home. They said that a risk factor could be recently released from prison or jail. That was one of the things that I discovered, that sometimes people who have been in prison, whether no matter how long it is, they suffer from certain traumas.
A lot of them have trauma. First of all, a lot of inmates, when they get locked up and they go through these psych evaluations, a lot of them are diagnosed with something. And here in the great United States of America,
Mm.
we do not rehabilitate our prisoners.
At all.
Okay? Nobody, nobody can sit in confinement for 23 hours. Okay? First of all, the average attention span of an adult is 45 minutes. So just imagine, they're sitting there for 23 hours doing nothing. We don't give them the opportunities, even if they are able to earn a degree, get a trade, earn a skill. When they come out here, you don't have people willing to give them a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
And so that causes them to have those feelings of, well, I have no purpose. I'm here, I'm trying to change my life
I
around.
paid my debt to society.
Paid my debt to 13th Amendment. But now I'm still stuck and I don't have nothing to do and I can't do anything. I can't better myself, and so they end up killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I will say, because I actually had a friend who took his life, and it literally shocked all of us. Actually, the anniversary of his death is coming up in the next couple of weeks, but it shocked all of us. Like, when I got the phone call, I was like, huh, who, what? Like, they did what? Nobody saw this coming, and it was unexpected. So even though there are warning signs, sometimes there are none.
There are none. Mm-hmm.
Like, we was all together the month before, or with chilling, partying. 2 months later, he blew his brains out in his mama's basement. And his mother came home and found him like that.
And that's trauma, and I think a lot of people who I've heard people say that someone who commits suicide is doing a selfish act. I can't agree completely that it's selfish, but because they're focused on, there's no one that can help me through what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
But also, them taking their life means you're spreading the pain that you had now amongst everyone who really cared for you.
Especially because he had kids. So it's like
Yeah.
dang, now the kids, you know what I'm saying, they don't have their father. So, but I also think about in the black community. These are things that we need to be comfortable with talking about. If you have suicidal thoughts, or you're going through things, go to therapy. Does not mean that you are crazy. Therapy, there's nothing wrong with seeking help, talking to someone about whatever that's going on. But in the black community, we have, mental health is so taboo, and it's such a subject that nobody wants to speak on. Just like when one of the signs they were talking about having a history of, yes, an unbiased opinion. That's why I went to therapy. But having a history of mental illness in your family. There are families that have histories of mental illness, but you don't know that. Why? Because back in the day, that's the family member that they swept under the rug. Mm-hmm. Or that's she just different. Or that's the one that they would send away to the insane asylums or the hospitals and everything. But those were the ones that you didn't talk about. Mm-hmm. So you never knew that your family had this history of mental illness. And you're trying to pinpoint where is this coming from, but it's like, okay, well, your aunt had this issue, or your mom had went through this at one point in time when she was younger, and all this other stuff. So we, especially in the black community, we have to get out of that mindset. We have to be open and honest to talking about mental illness and suicidal thoughts. Because I saw a thread that talked about the black women in Hollywood that have all went through different things, that may have felt suicidal at one point in time, and it was a lot of them.
Yeah,
I mean, you had Tamar, Fantasia. They actually put
yeah, and Tamar had like a public meltdown.
Yeah, and Tamar really tried to take herself out. So it's just,
It's extremely hard, and that's why if y'all heard me mention before, with anybody who becomes who gets to that level of stardom or celebrity status, when they come into that money and that lifestyle, unknowingly, everybody can see other celebrities, but to know what it really entails, you really have to, be in that status, and there is no guidebook. There's no mental health person for them to prepare what is going to play with your mental on a daily basis. And so, like, there are a lot of celebrities who have committed suicide or have done some things that we may look at as like, what the hell is wrong with them? They got all this money, but money does not equate to happiness.
I tell people this all the time. Like, money does not equate to happiness. And like, well, if I had all this money, I would be happy. And I'm like, do
You'd
you
be happy that you wouldn't be in debt. That's
do
what you'd be
you
happy about.
realize how many millionaires have taken themselves out of here because they spent? I remember Mary J. Blige said this one time in an interview, because you don't know who's really here for you, or they're here for your money and your fame. And so these people struggle with that, because you got all these people that want to be your friend, but in reality they're really not your friend.
Right.
All they care about is riding off your fame. You know what I'm saying? Yes, money helps a lot. Like somebody said, it does help. It does help. But it's also,
because it's like, once you pay off, it's like, we're looking at it from, a lot of people look at it from, okay, I have all these bills I need to pay. So once your bills are paid, let's just get that out the way. Once your bills are paid, and you don't have to worry about those things bothering you every month, and you've bought all that you can buy now,
right?
What other happiness are you going to have just having a whole bunch of money if you don't have other people surrounded around you with good intentions? Because there's always going to be, unfortunately, money can change somebody's loyalty quickly.
Very, very much so. When people find out that you make a certain amount or you have more money, people will definitely change. And
it's people out here who even prey on people's families because they see, oh, well, they come from this and they come from that. Like, look, just because somebody make it look good don't mean that it's all that's cracked up to be.
Right. And you think about it, even when you have some celebrity children that have killed themselves or taken themselves out, and it's like, oh, well, they grew up in all of this and da 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 da. But some of them, they look at our lives and they're like, oh, I wish I had that sense of normalcy that we had. I wish I could go somewhere without cameras being in my face, or 50 million thousand people asking me questions about my mom or my dad or whatever the case may
Whitney
be.
Houston and her daughter, for example. Whitney Houston said multiple times on that TV show, when they had their TV show, that she was mad because she could not have a regular, like, family day without cameras being in her face.
And that stuff takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on you mentally, because yes, it's great to have the fame and to have the money and to live the lifestyle you want to live, but to have that sense of normalcy, it takes a toll on those people.
Yeah, I don't want the fame. I take the money, but I don't want the fame.
But then, and you also have to think about these people. These are the same people that when they're out with their families and they're like, no, I don't want to take a picture, then you bashing them on the internet. Do you want a camera all in your face when you out to dinner with your family? No.
People got mad at how Kanye West treated the paparazzi, but that shit is real. Like, I don't even like when people unknowingly put me on camera as a regular person. So imagine being at that stage and having to deal with it every single day, whether you're in a good mental health space or not.
Yeah, like you in the Chick-fil-A line, you just want some chicken. And everybody, oh my God, look who it is. They taking out cameras. They in the way when you just try to get your fries, eat while I'm hot.
And trying to live a normal life. Right. Because, of course, they 9 times out of 10, they have somebody they could send. But sometimes I realize a lot of celebrities just want to be able to do normal stuff.
Yeah, like prime example, the president of the United States can't drive. They're not allowed to drive. So I'm pretty sure Obama has probably gotten behind the wheel of a car when he got a chance to, because it's, I don't care if that man drove 100 yards down the street. He just like, you know what? This gives me a chance to feel some type of normalcy that I had prior to becoming the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to think about that in terms of, these are people too. They're humans. They have feelings. They
No
have
matter
emotions.
what status they at.
Right. Like, I am not one of those people, and I say this, I don't get starstruck. I think well, no, it was only one person that made me nervous. But other than that, I have walked up to, they ain't really celebrities, but I walked up to NFL players and started speaking to them like they were regular people, and they appreciated that, because I'm not like, oh my god, like I ain't with a, hey, how you doing? That like, and I'll strike a conversation. What? I'm not acting. No, they people like us.
Right.
So
exactly.
give them that sense of normalcy, because that stuff really does play on their mental. Like, I think about Demi Lovato. She's been very open about her drug use and everything, and I mean, that's hard. Even with Britney Spears, free Britney. Yeah. I think she kind of free, but you know,
Britney.
but like, even with stuff, with things like that, like,
yeah, I don't know what Disney did to them people, but
right, a lot of them,
it was a lot of them.
I think the only one that's still normal is Lizzie McGuire.
Justin Timberlake.
He don't count, because I ain't like the way he did Britney or Janet Jackson, so no.
I mean, I'm just saying he's still normal.
Well, yeah, he didn't. Well, he wasn't strung out on stuff, but yeah, like, you just.
Yeah, you just never know. Like, this this probably won't sound bad, but I really think something happened to Raven-Symoné. She's a little.
I think so, and I don't think it was during the Cosby Show era, because I didn't get that vibe from none of the cast.
I really think it was on Disney.
I think it was when she went to Disney Channel. I don't know what was going on, because I remember they were talking about some things with Jamie Lynn
Spears.
Yeah, Britney's sister. So we don't know what was going on with, and again, that's that childhood trauma. So we don't know what was going on with that, and it plays out in their adulthood, and we see that every day with regular folk.
Right.
That childhood trauma.
And people who start acting or get into celebrity status young, and look, if that's what the route that you want your child to go on, great. But please make sure that one, you don't change who you are as a parent,
and protect them.
Protect them, and don't become greedy either, because that's what a lot of them have experienced. You know, from their childhood to now, is that when their parents controlled everything that they had, and then as they grew and they weren't able to express certain things because people demand so much from them, that they either had the substance abuse, or they would just be in a depression and try to fight it every day. We're gonna take a quick break to I'm gonna take a music break. Not all the songs are going to be recent songs from the DMV, but I just wanted to play some softer music this week, because we're discussing this topic.
This hot music in the street, all this hot new music. right? Well, everything it was cooking. You know, all this hot music in the street, all this hot new music.
Single, simple meaning of the term revolutionary. A revolutionary is a man or a woman.
Not easy. Nigga, what? Bitch, who? Nigga, what? Bitch, who? Nigga, what? Bitch, who? Nigga, what? Bitch, who? At this point, I'm elevated. Don't ever test me when I'm jaded. I'm so hot, I can fly, there's no escaping. And I go ape shit when I'm faded. Dripping, drowning, my name they shouting. Gotta watch on my surroundings. Now that they crown me, your demons are frowning. You overcrowded. Fuck up on my face, I need all of my space. Say grace. Got no time for the snake shit. Don't got time for the patience. Questions like you bang now. Heard you sang now. Who you round now? What you bout now? It ain't none of your concern. I wanna rock right now. I wanna shut shit down. Where's the crown? I'm going up right now. I'm too turned right now. Lower your sound. I meant lower your voice. You never had a choice. This shit was earned. Nigga, just wait your turn. I really learned to discern. I'm fire, fire. Praise to the Messiah, Sire. Got a group full of riders, riders. Don't need a damn rider, rider. I'm just flowing, going.
In order to create a world where human beings can live and love and be healthy and create, you have to completely
Going.
revolutionize the entire fabric of society. You
I'ma
have to
keep flowing.
overturn the economic.
Okay, welcome back. So I had to play that song by Chuck Brown, Love, and the last song I played was by Henri B Styles called Release. So also last week while we were at the stunt show, we had a chance to talk to several black businesses that were vendors at the showcase, and so it was really nice to meet those people. And so if you didn't watch last week's show, I did edit it and add it to what was posted on YouTube, so that new video is up. I did want to spotlight two of those businesses this week. The first one being Powder DNA. She is a black nail tech from the DMV based out of Laurel. She does acrylic full sets and customs that are ready to ship with press-ons. You can find her on Instagram at Powder DNA. That's POWDEREDDNA. Also, Art. Had a chance to meet Joe, who did the custom paintings and artworks. Look forward to working with him to doing our logo. And he also has Sip and Paint Kits. He is based out of Baltimore. You can find him on Instagram as well, at UKNO_art. So to jump back in, we were talking about this month is National Suicide Prevention Month. We had left off at the warning signs, and we were discussing about how, trying to find a way how I'm more focused. I don't want to say more focused on, but the level of inclusiveness for mental health when it comes to the DMV area, especially. Because there has been so much going on. I think gentrification has played a big part. Yeah, gentrification has played a big part on not just the poverty of people, but how the area is condensed. Because if we really take a focus to where a lot of, I want to say, tragedy happens in the city,
It's the same area.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same areas. There was another mass shooting yesterday. I believe there was 7 people that got shot and 3 have died now
Yes,
on in Northwest.
Longfellow.
Yeah, on Longfellow Street in
Hmm.
Northwest. Um, it's really sad because it's like at this point, what is I don't want to put it all on the mayor, but at some point when you have crime that keeps happening in certain areas, at what point do you have someone go in and try to talk to people to see like where is your mind at for this to continuously keep happening? And then it's like it's innocent people that are being hurt, and it really pulls at people's heartstrings when there's so many children.
Merle gotta go. Merle, Merle, Merle. She gotta go. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even a DC resident, but it's interesting to see how much the city has changed. Especially now that I work in the city. I work in Southeast. Not on the Alabama Avenue side, but the very gentrified side. And I'm like in the morning, I'm just like, oh, okay. All right, it's really different. And growing up in the DMV, like you've watched how the city has changed, and it's crazy because now Landover is becoming very Caucasian. I been going to the Planet Fitness in Landover for the last 5-6 years. I may have seen maybe one white person on average. Now it's a group of white people working out in the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning. Never seen it. You got white folk running down 202. Never saw that growing up as a kid.
At all.
Like never. But like going back to DC, it's a matter of, first of all, we need to have officers that have some type of compassion, because even the black officers that are in DC, they're assholes and they're jerks, and it's just like a lot of times these officers hide behind their badges, and it's like, take some time, talk to these people, ask them what's going on, ask them why. A lot of times, and the crazy thing is working with students that were from Southeast, having students that were losing friends in the street or that were outside when their friend got shot. And these kids nowadays, they don't care. These young people are reckless, because back in the day, women and children were off limits. You didn't kill women, you didn't kill children, like you didn't do stuff like that. But these ones that's out here, because it's really the youngest. It's the young
It's really
ones.
different now. I could say probably in the last 5 to 8 years, it's certain neighborhoods in DC that still carry that same
beef.
Yeah, not only do they carry the beef, but they still have some people in their neighborhoods that carry that whole mantra of, clear the street out before y'all do what y'all gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I done been somewhere where they was like, if you leaving, you gotta leave now. We getting ready to go clear the playground, all of that. I respect y'all more for doing that, but it's still like, why is the beef so bad? Like, y'all don't own none of this shit.
That's the part that behooves me. Is y'all literally living in these Section 8 houses, buildings, fighting over the building that not name one of y'all own. Like, y'all out here beefing and y'all don't even know why you're beefing. You know what I'm saying? Just because your cousins and them or your uncle and all them was beefing with this whatever, so y'all just carrying on this beef. And it's not just in DC, it's literally all over the hoods in America. But it's crazy. It's getting worse. You know what I'm saying? You got 2-year-olds getting shot and babies that didn't even get a chance to live their life, like the young man PJ and Glenarden. You know what I'm saying? Like these babies are not getting a chance to be who they were supposed to be because their lives are been taken away. Like, they ain't even begin to live their life yet at 8, 9, and 10 years old. And it's crazy because it's 12 and 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids that are out here doing it. Think about those carjackings that was going on. They wasn't the grown people.
No, they was teenagers.
They was teenagers. These kids are 12 and 13 years old with 9 millimeters carjacking people. Make it make sense. Where's there's a disconnect somewhere in our community. Somewhere. These kids are hurt. They have seen things. They gone through there's something that is causing them to want to act out in this manner. And it's like, where's the disconnect? Like, we gotta figure it out.
Yeah, I heard on, I want to say it was the radio, of how like a lot of schools have lost like the funding to be able to do certain trips. And from my experience, I got to go on a lot of trips throughout the whole time I was in school.
Yeah, these kids don't go nowhere.
Yeah, they don't get to go anywhere. And I think that's another thing, when you live in a place and all you see is negative things and a lot of poverty, and it looks like nobody is making it out of that situation, it becomes a mentality of, I can't do no better than that, because look, they still here. All these people grew up here and they still here. A lot of people in DC have never left DC.
Never. And it's sad.
It is, because
we
it's
not
a lot of
talking
beautiful
about going
places
across the line to PG County.
Yeah, like go to the other side of the world. Whether you leave the country or it's just going to California, go try your best to go and experience another environment, city, another country. Do whatever you do to try to expose your kids, to show them that it is more things out here in the world than what they see on a daily basis. And I know people get mad at me. They're like, you're not a parent, you don't understand. Just because you wasn't exposed to something, don't take that away, your opportunity away from your child. It's the same thing I say when I used to do this program with Park and Planning, where I would cook different dishes and then I would blindfold our kids and have them taste it. Some of these kids have never even heard, let alone tasted, some of the vegetables that I brought in.
Yeah, these kids don't eat vegetables. Trust me.
Yeah.
I see the lunches y'all send your children to
But it's like, oh,
Put
well,
some carrots
my
in that
mom
baby
don't
bag.
my mom don't eat that, so I don't eat that. I'm like, but have you ever tried it? And a lot of people have that mindset. That's why we got adults out here that only eat chicken tenders and french fries when they go places.
When you don't go out of town to eat chicken tenders and french fries. You could have stayed at home and did that. But we do. I just work in that education, like I see so much. And I have seen just how the decline in the mental health of our children. Somebody said that's why they expose their child to everything. Let her know it's more than just what's going on today. Exactly. But I've seen such a decline in just our kids and just how they are. Like, I remember working with my high school students my first year. Like, I would literally ask them questions about, because when we talk about their mental health, we have to think about growing up, we didn't have the internet. So cyberbullying and all that.
We had the internet, but our parents had to pay for that. That dial-up shit, AOL, took a long time.
If somebody picked up the phone while you was in the house,
you got to start all the way
over.
over.
All right, carry on. So we didn't have, we weren't exposed to as much as these kids are, and so you just see the difference. Because I was having a conversation about social media. And I just was like, what is it about the likes and the follows? Like, we live in such, and you see this now with adults, we live in such a place where everybody needs validation, but people don't know how to validate themselves.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of self-esteem issues, and it's a lot of, we see a lot of mimicking behavior. And oh, well, if this person is doing this and I'm trying to I want to be like them, but that person ain't shit for real. But to them, they the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, people only going to show the good,
right? And
they're
so
not going to show you their struggle.
This is what we see with these kids. Like, honestly, these new drug dealers, y'all different. I could respect the ones back in the day.
And y'all lazy as fuck.
I could respect the ones back in the day. They took care of the kids in the hood. They made sure that them kids wasn't on the street. They did things for the kids. They did book bag drives, and they bought the kids shoes, and they did. Y'all new drug dealers. Y'all just ride around and half y'all don't even have cars. I don't know what they be doing. They're
not available half the time.
Like,
the other half the time they ain't got what you need.
Like, what are y'all doing? At least them drug, back in the 80s and early 90s, those men that were in the streets, they took care of these kids.
Their community. They took care of their
community. They was the ones that would be like, listen, you little brother, go to school, get your education and stuff like that. But these new joints, I don't know what
I don't know.
I don't know. And you see, and this is what the kids look up to. And so this is their mentality. Like, I gotta be out here carrying guns and shooting everybody to be, I don't even know what they want to be.
I don't think they know. They haven't even got a chance. And I think that goes back to that exposure thing, where they haven't had time to think about what they want to be, nor have they been able to meet people who have achieved certain things. And so I know when people had, like, career day has changed a lot in the schools. And when we was younger, career day was popping when I was in elementary school. But nowadays,
I got some career day stories for this past 2 years.
It's not just just the parents that come in and do career day. Sometimes I think the school board should try a little bit harder to expose children to different type of careers. And I'm like, y'all, what is so hard about having somebody from the high school come in and talk to these kids about the different trades that are offered at the surrounding high schools? Like, it's small things and changes that could be made to help, jumpstart these kids' minds to think differently.
Nowadays, we're so focused on the Common Core bullshit and all this other stuff that we aren't really teaching the kids how to survive outside of sitting in the classroom. Now, the school that I used to work at had career day, but I don't think they properly screened these people. Cause one, she was a hairdresser. Okay, she telling her story, but sis had to tell them how she used to be a stripper and how she was going through a divorce, and she would
inappropriate.
Ma'am, they didn't need to know all that. You could have just told them what you had to do to become a cosmetologist. We did not need to know that she was sliding out of pole at stadium, sis. Like, we ain't need to know none of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, but I really do think that we need to do better. Now, I have worked in elementary schools where they focus on career day, but you also need to implement that in high school as well, because elementary school, okay, everybody, all you see, like, we had a metro bus driver, we had a horse person, whatever. We had a kid that became an entrepreneur. He sold shoes. Like, you had all these different things. Okay, but these kids are like 6 and 7. Yeah. Great. Ooh, I'm fascinated. It's a metro bus. I ain't never been on the bus.
And that's the other thing. Like, the younger kids. I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be the normal kids.
I was gonna be a doctor. Now look at me.
The normal kid stuff. But I'm like, the kids that are transitioning to middle school and going into high school. Like, it's like how they be trying to push, what college you gonna go to, and they start doing that in like middle school. Also talking about the trades and other different kind of positions, especially like for the state of Maryland, they short on teachers.
But
Now they short on bus. Now they short on bus drivers.
Across the entire United States, they short on everything in education.
Yeah, because they don't want to pay people accordingly.
They don't.
We're gonna jump back and go to a couple more of risk factors involving suicide prevention and awareness. Loss of a loved one, legal troubles, financial difficulties, and interpersonal stresses, which could be a mixture of shame, harassment, bullying, discrimination, or relationship troubles. Bullying is another one of those things that I'm not going to say that the world is sensitive about it now, because there are definitely some real bullies, but there's a fine line between bullying and joning, because I came up in the area where joning was like normal.
Yeah, because we definitely talked about each other.
Yeah, we talked about each other, and we'll still say good morning to you tomorrow on the bus and do it all over again. But bullying now has taken on, I feel like, another monster in itself, because you do have children. I don't know, some of these children really are mean. And
nah, for real, kids mean.
Yeah. And like, kids already say, they had that show, Kids Say the Darndest Things, but sometimes you be looking at kids like, nah, where the fuck did you learn that?
No, for real. Working in education, kids are really mean. Like, the stuff that be coming out their mouths, I be like, what? Because you be having to check yourself. Because you be like, huh?
Who the hell you talking to?
Wait a minute. So when it comes to bullying, I think also people have become so protective of their kids. So it's just like, I think we have to get out of the narrative of everybody's so nice in the world, because they're not.
Yeah, because there's definitely some
and we're
crazy
teaching
people.
These babies like, no, that's not. Everybody's not nice. My mama, everybody not gonna like you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody not gonna be a friend.
Everybody's not gonna speak to you neither,
right,
just because you speak to them.
Everybody not gonna want to hang around you. Everybody's not gonna treat you the same, or everybody's not gonna. She would say like stuff like, everybody's not gonna treat you how I treat you, which is something that we probably should get back to with these kids, because
absolutely,
your mom, everybody's not gonna treat you how your mama and daddy did, and that's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to bullying, but yeah, some of these kids is assholes. Like, for real. Like, some of these kids are little jerks. But I think we need to get back to teaching our kids to be strong-minded. Because a lot of these kids aren't. And the level of sensitivity, like, even in sports, I hate a participation trophy. What the hell do you need that for? I'm against those. I never got a participation trophy in all the years that I played sports. For what? We lost. What I need a trophy for? We lost. Build your character and move on. Cry, boo-hoo, and then move on. And
thanks for coming out.
Right. But
I feel like you have to give children something to work and look forward to. So awarding them when they haven't achieved anything, and then you've gone through this process for all these years now, and you get into adulthood and it's like, well, I mean, I did my job. Okay, you did what you were supposed to do.
That is what we see now. I'm telling you, with education,
like, people be wanting to get applause for being a parent. You made yourself a parent.
Right.
You're doing your job.
But this is what you see. These new kids, they want something for nothing. Literally. Like, I remember, like, kids were talking about, I got new shoes because I got an A. What? I came home with a 4.0. My mother said, that's what you're supposed to do. Congratulations. And kept it moving. These kids feel like every little tiny achievement that they do, because this is what you're supposed to do as a kid. Oh, you got up and went to school this morning. We're going to go to McDonald's. That's what you're supposed to do. So then we create these adults that
feel obligated.
That have this obligation, and when they don't get what they want, then they throw
act
tantrums.
Mm-hmm.
So now you 18 years old, supposed to be dropping the fries at McDonald's. You got attitude, so now I'm gonna call my mother because I didn't get da 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 da. Girl, that's not how the world works.
Absolutely not.
But we are creating these kids. Like we are literally rewarding them for doing what they're supposed to do. And when they become adults, yes, instant gratification. When they become adults, they feel like, oh, well, I went to work today. Okay, congratulations.
Yeah. And I think people have to understand, like, we're not saying to not applaud your child. Right. We're just saying for everything that they're supposed to do, you cannot give them physically an award for doing something that you require of them. If you require that of them, then it shouldn't be just an automatic award. You need to applaud them, of course, and give them, I'm proud of you. Mm-hmm. Like, still feed into them and give them, positive affirmations. I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. Because it's certain things in the world that, like, it's mandatory to survive. And if you don't learn those skills, then, like you said, you become those adults who they have the worst temper tantrums you've ever seen in your life. I'm like, yo, and it makes me feel, I'm like, bro, who raised you? It's like, my bad. I mean, I know your mom, but this is what your mom taught you? Like,
yeah, like, it's like they feel like for every little thing that they do, they're supposed to get something. And it's just like, that's not adulting. Every time I pay my bills, I don't get an award, a trophy, nothing. Right. I get a thank you.
Or the people who be like, well, they don't appreciate nothing I do. Well, is it something that you're supposed to be doing? Because, I mean, people are not going to always say thank you for doing something if this was already discussed and it's a requirement of you. It's like, just be happy you did it on yourself. You was able to meet that this month. Good job, me.
But then that plays on their mental, because if they're not getting this instant gratification, then it's like, oh, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I can't get what I want. I can't this, I can't that. But it's like,
then they turn into like some spiteful people.
Yeah, but literally things are earned. Everything isn't given, and I think that's just what we see nowadays with the younger kids. Like, I understand that you want to give your child something that you may have not gotten from your parents, and it may be material things or whatever the case may be, but you also want to make sure that whatever you're instilling in them is realistically speaking for when they become an adult.
Absolutely.
And it's just not. When you see this with younger people, it's not.
I had a cousin who used to come visit, like, probably like 2 weekends in a month. And once a month, my mom would, if we have been, we haven't had any problems in school, we did everything in the house that she asked us to do. We didn't get no allowance, but if her finances allowed it, she would take us to get one item from, like, the toy store or something in a month. And it just so happens that my cousin always ended up with us every time we went to the store. Every time we went to the store, like, I've never seen a child beg so much in my life. And I was like, every time. So when he got older, I used to ask him, like, every time you went in the store, did your parents always buy you something? Did you never hear no in your life? Because the way you begged was just outrageous to me. And he was like, well, yeah, my mom did buy me whatever I wanted. I said, okay. And then when you became an adult, how did you still get what you wanted? I couldn't. I said, and how did it make you feel? He said, it really pissed me off. I'm like, nigga, why? Like, it's like, because it's just certain things that I was used to doing all the time, and I couldn't do it no more. Then he would just be mad at the world.
And you see this in crime shows. For real, y'all. That when these kids that be killing their parents, man, a lot of it, that's what it is, because these parents have been taking care of these grown ass children all this time, and when they decide, hey, I'm gonna cut you off, then they get crazy and then they kill the parent, and
now you really ain't getting shit.
Right, because now you sitting in jail and you in prison and you can't even get the life insurance policy because you done killed their asses. So I'm trying to tell y'all, like, I'm just telling y'all what I see from an educator's point of view. I'm not knocking nobody parenting, but I'm just saying that I've worked with all ages of children, and I see it, and it's just like,
I'm sure some of the single parents have run into adults that you can tell how their childhood went, for the most part, because when they're not getting that attention, or they're not getting that, like you said, that instant gratification, then they'll flip the whole script on you. You'll be like, I didn't even know you possessed all of that.
But those people grow up to be great manipulators.
Absolutely, I agree.
That's a mental health problem too. That something don't click right when you have people who can constantly manipulate a situation, like, all the time. But a lot of times that stems, especially in adults, it definitely stems from childhood traumas.
Yeah. We was talking about this over the weekend. How people have to be careful with the relationships that they build with their children and setting boundaries. We see it more often in the mother and son bonds, but the father and daughter bonds can be super crazy too, because sometimes it's like an overcompensation for certain things, and that plays out into some of these adult males and females they think they're requiring things from people that are unrealistic. I'm gonna give y'all 5 steps to help someone in emotional pain. These 5 steps are from the National Institute of Mental Health. Step 1, ask. Ask, are you thinking about killing yourself? 2, keep them safe. Reduce access to lethal items or weapons. 3, be there to listen effectively and acknowledge their feelings. 4, help them connect. Those are the numbers that I showed earlier on the stream, as well as announced at the beginning of the show, the Lifeline numbers. And 5 is to follow up and stay in touch. It is important for people who experience these, not only the risk factors and the symptoms, but just for people experiencing some of the things, whether it's the loss of a family member, or if there have been a lot of events that have happened in their life, like, to stay in touch. I know that we're all busy adults, but if you can recognize something has changed, whether it be, a lot of people, since we are in a time of social media, a lot of people will post things and we'll scroll right past it. We won't even really, like, we'll read it, but it won't be something that really we know how to respond to. And sometimes just because you don't know how to respond to them, just shoot them a message or something and say, hey, just wanted to check on you, how you doing, how you been, because some people do cry out on social media.
Some people do, but I will say this: when you are dealing with somebody who's going through a lot of stuff, because I've been there,
Be careful.
you have to be very careful, because when you are empath like I am, I tend to take on other people's problems. My friends will tell you that. So I will step back, but I will let them know, like, I'm still here, but it's becoming a lot. So you can still be present for them, but you have to let them know. Like, I've had situations where if it was a mutual friend of mine, and I would have to tap out and be like, listen, you gonna have to do this, because I can't right now, because I got my own, and I don't want to not be there for that person, but I'm dealing with my own stuff, or it's becoming too heavy for me.
Absolutely.
So I gotta tap out or kind of pull my energy away, because it can be a lot. And even when you do those assessments, people will lie.
Absolutely.
They won't always tell you the truth, but don't force it. Don't
Yeah.
force it. Like, if you can ask somebody what's going on and they feel like they don't want to talk about it, then just be like, okay, I'm here, but don't force it, because sometimes even that being forceful can cause it to escalate even more than what it already was. So you have to be very, very careful. Definitely use your intuition, because we all got it. Use your intuition, your discernment when it comes to situations like that. Like, be very careful, because a
Yeah.
lot of people, because you also have people who go through things, and that transfer of energy and emotion is very, very real, and they'll end up pouring everything onto you, and then now they done gone on about their business because they've poured all of whatever they have going on onto you. So you have to be careful.
Them
You gotta,
boundaries, healthy boundaries.
yeah, you have to create those boundaries, and you have to take care of your mental health too, because you can't be the person that you need to be for them if you can't even be that person for yourself. So you got to be very, very careful when it comes to these types of situations.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing of advice, like you said, is knowing how much to really be involved. Having a boundary of what your limit is for, how you can help them. If it's something that you feel that is above you, um, there are resources. Just there are resources that can be reached out. If the person is comfortable enough with talking to someone, or maybe they just want you to, well, yeah, I do want to talk to somebody, but I don't want to go by myself. Like, just getting someone to talk to someone professional, because even though I give advice all the time, I tell people that does not make me a therapist, and it doesn't make me right. That's just me having experience of dealing with certain situations and different kinds of people, as well as I've gone through therapy myself. Um, we do have I'm sorry, I do have some treatment in therapy, which has been deemed effective and evidence-based through interventions. And I know in the Black community, we do not like having interventions with people. Makes people shut down. Perfect example what happened this weekend. But there are multiple different ways. I am not a fan of medication at all, but in certain situations, people with different type of mental health disorders, medication is necessary.
Yes.
um, they do have two other forms of assistance. It's called cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as CBT. It helps people learn of different ways of dealing with stressful events, as well as dialectical behavior therapy, DBT. It reduces suicidal behavior in adolescents, and the research that the National Institute of Mental Health is working on, they are trying to make it so that it helps at a younger stage, as well as, their goal within, I think it was like their 5-year goal. So by 2025, their goal was to reduce the suicide rate by 20%, because like the numbers over the last couple years have gone up. And I gave the stats from 2019, and it was 46,500 people. It's a lot of people.
That's a lot. I will say with the cognitive behavioral therapy, um, just so y'all know, I have a whole master's in psychology, so I do know what I'm speaking about. Um, a lot of times they use that for, because every mental illness that is out here, they don't have medication for that. So there are some mental illnesses where you have to learn coping mechanisms and ways to deal with yourself. So I don't know if you guys know, oh my god, I just lost his name, but he used to play in the NFL. He was a wide receiver. He played for the Miami Dolphins. Brandon Marshall. Yeah. He played for the Miami Dolphins. He ended up going to the Denver Broncos. He was diagnosed with a personality disorder. But the personality disorder that he has, there is no like concrete, this is written out, this is the treatment. So he ended up going to school and learning more about his disorder, so he could learn how to cope with it and learn how to deal with it. And he ended up having a successful career in the NFL because he was wilding out when he was with the Dolphins, but that's because he had the issue and didn't know that he had it. So with cognitive behavioral therapy, it is really good because it does give you a lot of ways to cope with different things. And then sometimes when people are going through issues or whatever, there are levels. So when you go to a therapist, you are assessed. They assess you. They ask for your family history, whatever, and they determine like, are you like a severe case? Are you like, they start to diagnose you kind of not necessarily immediately, but they try to assess to see how they need to handle you, how they need to handle the situation. So when you go to this and they give you it is important to be completely honest.
Absolutely.
When you are going to therapy, because if you don't, it doesn't work. So, but with the cognitive behavioral technique, it's a very good technique because it's something that a lot of people have to use. Because there's no one right way to treat everybody.
Yeah, and from the research that I did, it was like the most common medicine that is prescribed is a antipsychotic medicine called clozapine, but it's mainly used to treat people with schizophrenia.
I was about to say this for schizophrenia.
Yeah. And so even though it is FDA approved, they use that medicine for a lot of people in reducing the risk of suicidal behavior. But when we really break it down, like suicidal behavior doesn't necessarily coincide with someone who's schizophrenia. So,
and a lot of those things they can't give to children because they increase this. Okay, so the one thing about schizophrenia, and those type of disorders, a child is not going to get diagnosed with anything like that, unless it's like really, really bad. But most of the time you don't get diagnosed with schizophrenia until you're like, I think between 16 and 18. So that's why in children it's important to pay attention to signs, because a lot of times some of these kids, and I'm just telling y'all, being in education, some of them, you have to be a certain age before you go for a psych evaluation or certain type of evaluations, because they're not going to check a child at like 2 or 3 years old when they already, I'm trying to tell y'all, when they showing them signs of the possibly being a serial killer, they're not and there are signs, they're not going to necessarily test this child for that because they're like 2 or 3 years old. And so by the time this child is diagnosed or whatever, it's severe and it's way later on in life. So that's why it's very, very important to pay attention to behaviors in your children, especially during this pandemic. I know y'all seen their behaviors change.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different mental health disorders or issues, and so I would say how they always tell people to get a second opinion. If you are not, I don't care if this doctor delivered your child, I always feel that it's best to get seen by multiple doctors. I know some of y'all is gonna cost some extra money, but to have a second opinion or a third opinion, so you know that, one, they're diagnosing your child the right way, and two, you can have it so all your doctors can help you with a safety plan, or there's treatment. And I think it's really important before, because granted, the medical industry will be like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna try to give your child this medicine, before you get to,
I don't like Ritalin.
yeah, before
Not a
you
fan
get
of
to
ADHD
giving
medicines.
your child medicine, be like, is there other coping mechanisms or things that we can do prior to trying this?
Please, y'all.
Because they try 8 million things on us. So you have to be adamant about, like, look, before we get to this step, is there anything else that we can do?
I'm going to tell y'all, again, coming from, I have worked in nothing but special education for the last 8 years. And really, when it comes to mental health, different issues with these babies, y'all are y'all child's advocate. You have to advocate for your child, because and I'm gonna tell y'all this, I have worked with children that were deemed ED. They didn't have not name emotional disturbance whatsoever. Okay, so you really have to advocate for your child, because if your child don't need an IEP, then you make sure that they don't end up with an IEP. If your child, especially when it comes to ADHD medicine, I am not a fan, because I have had students where when they start taking that meds, they are zombies. Their personality change. They sleep all day. They don't have an appetite. And
you don't get to see their personality.
Right, like, I'd rather have you flipping tables and cussing me out instead of sitting here looking like you were zooted out off of the meds.
I dealt with a child like that, and it used to scare me. I'm like, okay, I know you took your medicine today, and I'm happy that you can do your homework, but now it's like you're not being yourself. And even though sometimes your natural self can be a little bit much, I'd rather be able to see your personality and you be able to play with your friends normally, because the social part of some of these disorders is very important for these kids to be engaged. Because soon as they get labeled and separated, it plays on their mental health more.
It really, one thing about when it comes to mental health, and this is just even as a society, it's just not with kids in schools, we need more inclusive behavior. We need more inclusive growth. We don't have things in society where someone can feel more inclusive. And I'm not talking about, like, someone that's in a wheelchair or someone that's deaf or blind. We do things to make them feel inclusive.
Like they got the whole Paralympics.
Right, but people that have other types of disorders that we can't see, or mental disorders, we don't make them feel included. And honestly, even in education, you see this. And you see this a lot, especially when you have a child that's difficult or a child that has behavior problems. They isolate these kids from these classrooms, and then these kids are not included. And these babies can feel this. And like Pink said, it plays on their mental, because it's going to be like, well, why I can't play with these kids, or why am I not considered normal, or whatever the case may be. So you really have to, when it comes to these schools, I'm telling y'all, because I done seen some of these kids, and I'm just like, why are you in this school, or why are you here? It's nothing wrong. Like, if you had the right staff behind the child could be successful. So it's a lot of things that play into these kids, but definitely parents, please advocate for your kids, because I'm telling you, I've seen kids that I'm just like, you don't belong in this school. Like, your behaviors aren't severe. Or a lot of them, I've had students, I'm literally like, do you just need a hug? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Because some of them really don't have ED, or they don't have a disorder. They're truly products of their environment.
And because at home is where they feel most comfortable to be able to, whatever is going on in their mind, that's where they can just run wild at home. So parents will be like, well, they're this way at home, but when they're in this setting, they are not like that.
And I've had students that be like, oh, when I'm at home, I don't act like this. Well, why you act like this in school? They're fine at home, but they just act out in school. So it's just y'all just really, really, you have to advocate for your kids, especially for the young black boys. I say this all the time, because they love to label our young brown babies black babies. Working in special education, I'm telling y'all, I've worked with so many boys. So many boys. It's rare that you see girls. Well, you might see a couple of girls, but now I've worked with more. I have started to see more young girls, especially teenage girls, in like alternative school, behavior schools. But definitely at the elementary age, when I worked at elementary school, I think out of all of the program that I was at, I think we at the most we may have had like 5 girls.
I can agree with that. The school I worked at, it was only like 5.
Yeah, and most of them was young black males. And so we really have to advocate for our children, because a lot of it it's really not, there's something wrong with them as far as they have an emotional disability, or a lot of them are other health impaired, ADD, ADHD. Those are the most common ones that you see, outside of if they really have like autism or something else. Because now I do work with kids that are nonverbal, so those are different. But I'm just talking about the ones that have been labeled to have behavioral issues. Like a lot of them are truly products of their environment, and
or lack of attention.
So mom might not be in a home, dad might not be in a home. It may have been something like we said. I had one child, his dad was locked up, and his mom used to tell him that he had devil eyebrows like his daddy, and he didn't like that, and so he would come to school mad, and that's why he was acting out. It wasn't because of us, it was because of what his mama was saying to him. So, but this stuff plays on their mental, because they grow up, and this is the thought process that they're had. And then they're mad at the world. And these are people that do end up in and out of prison, or living a life on the streets or something like that. And so all of that plays within their mental. So you catch them while they're young, but still advocate for them to make sure that they're getting the right help that they need.
Absolutely. And
diagnose with what they really have. Because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these kids are not. But education is also a money maker. So,
yeah. Man, if you or your child are prescribed any type of medication surrounding these issues, make sure you talk with the doctor or the pharmacist to understand the risk and the benefits of the medication. Because sometimes, while the benefit may sound good, the risk is greater. And if you've been taking medication for a while, don't stop taking it without talking to a healthcare provider. Because once you've been on medication for a while, it will almost send your body into shock to stop taking it. Report any concerns or major side effects right away. Now, if you have a serious side effect, they are asking for people to report the serious side effects to the FDA MedWatch Adverse Event Reporting Program. You can do that online or by phone at 1-800-332-1088. So, again, I'm going to go back and state the phone numbers for the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It is 1-800-273-8255. Also, if you call that number and you're a veteran, when you call that number, you would press 1. You'll be able to see that on the video online as well. If you would like to text the crisis text line, you would text hello to 741-741. If you're a veteran, you would text hello to 838-255. So, I know this was a heavy show for everybody, but it was a very important topic that I wanted to touch this month. So this month we're going to have a couple of guests throughout this month. We're going to have a part 2 to a conversation that we started last month.
Yes, child. My family still talk about that episode.
Yeah, so we're going to have a part 2. I'm thinking about maybe possibly a part 3. Mainly because we will be having our appreciation cookout on the 19th. As much as we love everybody who supports us, we will be sending out messages to invite people, and then once we get those numbers, then we'll make an adjustment to see, how many more people we can accommodate. So over the next week or so, if you receive a message from us, it is important for you to respond so we
Please.
know how many people, because I don't want to run out of food at this event. So that day is September the 19th again, and we will be recording live from that event as well. I think that'd be a good time to continue talking about that topic too.
Yes.
Getting everybody's different sides. I know later on this month we're supposed to have a musical guest,
Yes.
as well as Dre from Legend Book Bag Co. is coming to hang with us on the 26th. I know this is a little bit far out, but we are looking forward to. There's going to be an event that we're going to be a part of in December. Networking with Dee Michelle at her pop-up events. I'm looking forward to that. As well as I'm going to go ahead and run through the events that we have for the month of September so far. So tomorrow, Customized Community Market is having a Labor Day bash from 12 to 5. It is free entry at St. Charles Mall. They will have a prize wheel, a DJ, food trucks, and they'll have stuff out there for the kids. So again, that's from 12 to 5 at St. Charles Mall. On the 11th, right here outside of Iverson Mall in the tunnel on the former Mill side, Pretty Pampered Queens Social Club is going to have their pantry drive on the 11th. That is from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. On the 18th, Jewelry by K's and Bartending Beauties are going to have a sip and shop at the park. That is September the 18th from 12 to 5 p.m. at Gwen Oak Park. They are still collecting for vendors. I think the vendor fee is like $30. Food vendors is $40. I do have all this information posted on the podcast page under social events, as well as you'll be able to see the flyers posted on the videos for YouTube and Facebook. I guess we can get ready to wrap up our wisdom of the week.
I'ma just say for y'all, because this show was very, very it was a lot. Definitely check yourself. And I say this in a way like not attitude or whatever, but your mental health. You know yourself, okay? And you know yourself better than anybody else. One thing that I am I am very self-aware. My friends will tell you that I'm very self-aware of when I've had enough, when my attitude changes, when I just need to take a break, when whatever. So definitely check yourself. And it's okay to say no. And it's okay to not be okay. Me and my friends, we definitely, the two that I talk to on a regular basis, we always check in with each other, always do like a mental health check, like how are you feeling today, like what's going on. And I'm very honest, like, hey, I'll be like, oh, I just had a moment, or like whatever. But I'm aware of that. And so you have to be aware of your triggers. You have to be aware of when things are becoming overwhelmed, when things are becoming too much, and then tell people, even on your jobs, tell your boss, like, hey, this is a lot. This is becoming overwhelming. I need to step out. I need a break. I need something, because you can't be the best you if mentally you're not there, and then you can't be who you need to be for your friends if you can't be that person for yourself. So that's why I said always check yourself. check yourself in a sense where is my mental at this moment or at this time. Okay, that's when I say check yourself, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you get right clap back at the neighbor or something like that. I'm talking about checking yourself as in where you are mentally this week, or where you are mentally in this moment, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so definitely take that time to really check yourself. So it's almost like doing a self-evaluation, even with those questions that Pink gave, where you can ask somebody else. Ask yourself, like, it's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. Okay, it's nothing wrong with that. Ask yourself, how am I feeling today? Like, am I feeling okay? Like, assess yourself. Okay, because we need the best you got to be that person for yourself in order to be that person for someone else. Okay, so just check yourself. All right.
Whew. Now I gotta follow up behind that. No, personally, this has really been a rough week. I even reached out to Phyllis this week because it was truly been a rough week for me.
We both tired.
Yeah. But in the midst of it all, whoever you believe in, whether it's God or whoever else you believe in, just continuously focus on Him and praise Him through the good and the bad. I think that has really helped me stay in a positive mind space despite what's going on. And my wisdom is going to have to simply come from know that everybody, like you said earlier, does not move like you. And expecting people to be the same person as you are is an unrealistic goal. And I'm going to say this because I've dealt with this in friendships. Just because somebody does something to you doesn't always mean you have to address it every time. I'm a firm believer of we can address it one time. If I address it one time and I tell you that your disrespect, I take that as disrespect, and then you continue to do it, there's no more explanation. I'm just going to distance myself, because some people in some situations are not worth it. Don't waste your time repeating stuff to people. They heard you
the first time.
They just showing that they don't give a fuck. So choose your peace over people. That's all I can tell y'all. Choose your peace over people, situations. Do whatever you got to do to make sure that you have peace. We will see y'all next week at the same time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We thank y'all for tuning in.
Bye, y'all.